With Donald Trump, Republicans have lost almost every competitive election. We lost the Senate. We lost the House. We lost the White House. We lost in 2018. We lost in 2020. And we lost in 2022. The worst kept secret in politics is how badly the Democrats want to run against Donald Trump. They know Trump is the only Republican in the country who Joe Biden can defeat.
That was Nikki Haley speaking there, making her case as to why Donald Trump should not be running again. Now we can speak with author and history professor Ian Reifowitz. Ian, thanks so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Now, this must be a bit of a disappointing night for Nikki Haley. She was really hoping that New Hampshire would give her a win with those states' more independent voters. What does this tell us about her chances in other states?
I think Nikki looks like she's going to come in losing by about 10 points. That's probably the best, that's probably the minimum she could have done and still claim some kind of victory. The polling lead this primary day had her losing by about 15 points. So maybe she outperformed the polls by just enough to be able to say, look, I ran a strong second. I don't think this is as so much of a victory for Nikki Haley. She did come in second, but it's not a great performance for Donald Trump either. If we look, for example, at Iowa, he got 51% of the vote with 5 other people running against him on the ballot. In New Hampshire, although Ron DeSantis was still technically on the ballot, it was a one-on-one race, and Trump only looks like he's going to gain maybe 3 points at best from what he did in Iowa. Nikki Haley consolidated most of the anti-Trump vote. Now, yes, New Hampshire is a different kind of Republican electorate than Iowa, but still, we are talking about a former president, somebody that I would call a quasi-incumbent, and he's barely getting half the vote. It's not a particularly impressive night for Trump, so I think Haley did well enough, and she certainly said she's going to stay in the race. She did well enough to make a reasonable case for her to stay in the race, at least through South Carolina, and we'll see how she does there. If she can be equally competitive in South Carolina, then she can stay in the race. It doesn't mean she can win, but she can keep going.
Now, Donald Trump, I mean, even if this win maybe wasn't as big as he hoped for in New Hampshire, he's still sort of cementing his hold on the GOP. So what does that mean for Trump and also for the future of the Republican Party?
Right. Absolutely. Trump is I would call him the prohibitive favorite at this point. He certainly is. But Donald Trump doesn't want to just be the Republican nominee. Donald Trump wants to be the next president. Winning New Hampshire and Iowa with the vote totals that he has won tell me and tell those looking at the race that he has not yet unified the Republican Party behind him in the way that I would argue a quasi-incumbent should have been able to. A former president should have been able to. Look at, for example, what Joe Biden did tonight. Joe Biden's name was not on the ballot, and he got. It looks like he's going to get about 3/4 of the Democratic vote in New Hampshire. Say what you want about Joe Biden, but the Democratic Party is more unified behind him with 2 other candidates on the ballot than the Republicans were unified behind Donald Trump tonight. I think Joe Biden, at least tonight, put to bed any concerns that the Democratic electorate was looking somewhere else. I don't think a lot of people were concerned about that, but there was a potential for a surprise. Given that people had to actually write his name in and he still got 3/4, I don't think he's that concerned. Trump looks like he's going to be the nominee, but Nikki Haley can keep attacking him over the next month as we head up to South Carolina. She can talk about his age. She can talk about his mental decline. He confused Nikki Haley with Nancy Pelosi over the weekend. Nikki Haley is going to keep reminding voters of that. Even if that's not enough to help her beat Donald Trump, it is enough to weaken Donald Trump for the general election.
Ian, thank you so much for that analysis. You've given us a lot to think about. That's history professor and author Ian Reifowitz.